Hi everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day. I wanted to talk about today relative underperformance and what that means over time. So I went back and researched data dating back as far as 1973, as far back as you can reliably go and look at a portfolio that is diversified among all asset classes, stocks, bonds, and weighted towards small in value, which have historically outperformed. And I wanted to compare that to what we see as the S&P 500. And there is no question that that portfolio that is weighted that way has underperformed the S&P 500 as of late. But the question is, will that persist, and can you expect that to persist going forward? And from my analysis, I came up with this essentially, that if you are invested in a globally diversified portfolio of 60% stocks and 40% bonds, essentially 20% of the years you could have a negative return. As bad as negative 25% in 1 year, 2008 being the worst possible year. But if you have the discipline and the foresight to stick that out, and you are globally diversified among 60-40, then you've never had a period of 10 years where if you had a $100,000 investment, it wasn't worth at least $145,000 over a 5% compounded rate of return, and that is the worst period. Let's assume that you were someone who had the worst timing you could possibly have, and you put all of your money into the market during the worst periods. 1973, a 60-40 portfolio. In 1973, an example, the market was down 11%, the S&P, and then the next year it was down 9%. But 10 years later, in 1982, you had a 10% return on that money, even with those terrible years. Let's say that you put your money in 2000. The S&P 500 between 2000, 2001, 2002 was down 50% combined over those 3 years. If you put your money in that year, essentially your money would have declined substantially over those 3 years. But at the end of 2009, even with the 2008 recession, in a globally diversified 60-40 portfolio, you would have made around 5% return on your money over that period. Let's say that you put your money in 2008, this negative 25%, essentially your $100,000 is worth $75 1 year later. If you had remained in that strategy, stayed diversified, stayed disciplined, even since then, you've had around a 6% compounded rate of return. It's very easy to look back and say if, then. But the reality is you have to be in it for the long run. Be disciplined. And that's where I see our role as an advisor, being a coach, and keep making sure we've got a game plan. Stick to that game plan because we know it's going to work if given enough time. That's all I've got for today. If you have any questions, give me a call, 770-984-2312. Have a wonderful week.